We are live. Welcome, everybody. We are streaming today to YouTube and Facebook. I am Kelton Bruff. I'm here with my friend Drew. We are ready to rock and roll. This is probably our fifth or sixth Barn Tools walkthrough webinar that we've done. We are on a cadence where we're doing these about bi-weekly. So if you have to hop out for any reason today, you got to go and do anything, go tend to the farm. Don't worry, we will be sending out the recordings to all those who've registered. If you haven't registered, I will throw up a link towards the end, or I'll throw it up after I'm done hopping off here, so that you can register for the event, and we will make sure that we send you the recording afterward. But we also are going to be doing this on a bi-weekly cadence. So if you miss this one, you can look forward to our next one. But each time we try to touch on a different aspect of the Barn Tools ecosystem. And today we have a good lineup where we'll be talking about how Barn Tools works, a little bit about the 3G sunset and what that means for any of you that may be on one of the legacy alarm systems that still uses a landline. And then we'll also talk about the Barn Tools product line and all the things that go into that. So without further ado, I will let you take it over, Drew.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelton. Appreciate you putting these on. And thank you guys for joining us for these. Like Kelton talked about, we try to do these every couple weeks. We'll post them on our YouTube channel. So, please feel free to go back and take a look at some of our previous ones. Those live on that channel, so you can go back and reference them anytime as well. So if you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll get to those as we go through this. But yeah, just to kind of start out here a little bit, when it comes to the BarnTalk alarm system, one of the things we really focus on and talk about a lot is connectivity. And so when we think about a full potential alarm system that enables you to have reliable alarms, real-time visibility into your operation of what's happening in your facilities, connectivity is really the foundation of that. If you don't have a good source of connection, you're not really able to get any of those other things as it relates to reliable alarms, real-time visibility, and ultimately being able to make quicker decisions, better decisions faster on your operation. So we'll talk a little bit more specifically about what connectivity solutions BarnTalk provides. But that's really why that's important for us to talk about, because it really is the foundation of being able to, make better decisions faster on your operation. So with the BarnTalk alarm system, kind of like we talked about with that foundation, we can provide all of those things. We can provide connectivity with our system. We give you 24/7 visibility into what your barn conditions are through our mobile app. That allows us to send you reliable alarms when things are getting out of the parameters that you set. The fact that we use wireless sensors makes it really easy to install on your operation. And then, as we kind of talked about, making better decisions faster, having real-time data at your fingertips is such an advantage of being able to react quicker, make decisions quicker on your operation. So from a high-level standpoint of how the BarnTalk alarm system works is our suite of wireless sensors that you can place throughout the facility send that information back to our BarnTalk gateway, which provides the connectivity for the system. And then that information is sent to the internet, to the cloud. We present that to you in the form of our mobile app to be able to see what those real-time information is on your farm. So, whether that's temperature, humidity, water consumption, feed information, all that information can be accessible right at your fingertips. The other advantage of this information being available in the cloud is that gives us the opportunity to integrate with different software platforms that a lot of producers use. So we really want to be the vehicle for that data to get off the farm. But from that standpoint, we know that there's a lot of different things you can do with that. And we know there's a lot of really cool software products out there that can give you different access to reporting, metrics, things like that. So we do have the ability to integrate that information into several different software platforms. Some of the main ones that we use would be EveryPig or MTech, MetaFarm, Summit Smart Farms. But if you have other software products that you'd be interested in integrating this into, let us know. We'd be happy to do some work on that as well. So to start with the BarnTalk system, the gateway box is really the foundation or the brains of the platform. So this is where we provide connectivity for the system. So built in to this gateway box, it's built to be able to withstand in barn conditions. And then this is what our wireless sensors are going to connect to. So inside that gateway box is a cellular SIM card that is approved to work on all the major carriers, the cellular providers in the U.S. So that gives us multi-carrier connectivity. That box is going to monitor power for the system, and it also has a couple of dry contact inputs built into it that you can use for a multitude of different things. Probably some of the most common ones we see are hooking that up to a water pressure sensor, your ventilation controllers. If they have some kind of auxiliary alarm output on them, you can connect that into there. But there's a lot of different things you can do with that. And then this is what our wireless sensors are going to connect to. So the nice thing about the connectivity that the BarnTalk alarm system provides is that with the multi-carrier connectivity, we can work in a lot of areas where legacy alarm systems might not have very good connection. So when that gateway box gets fired up and turned on, it's going to automatically go and find the strongest cell phone signal available. It doesn't matter, who's strongest in your area. It's just going to find the strongest one and connect to that. The other thing that is nice about our connectivity is that it works on low bandwidth networks, meaning that we just need the slightest amount of cellular signal to be able to have a good, reliable, established connection. So in a lot of areas, some people will say, well, my barn, I can't really get good cell phone signal. I have to step outside to be able to make a phone call. That we're not worried about that. Our system has performed very well in a lot of areas like that. We provide an external cellular antenna that if you can get that outside your building, we'll make sure that you have a good, reliable connection. So that's the one thing about the connectivity that is advantageous, being that it connects to multiple different networks. If a network has some kind of disruption, we will just switch over to the next available connection that's available. So it really gives you a lot of options and peace of mind when you've got facilities located in rural areas. And just to kind of drive that point home further, when it comes to the connectivity and the amount of data that BarnTalk is using, it's very small amounts. Every minute we're sending a small packet of data to the cloud, which if you think about the amount of cellular data it takes to stream a 1-minute video on YouTube, that is equal to about the amount of data that the BarnTalk system will use in a 30-day period. So that kind of drives home that point of being able to still have a reliable connection, even in those areas where there's not strong signal at all. We're sending such small packets of data that will continue to work in those areas where we don't have super strong signal on your phone. One of the other features we've built into the BarnTalk system to really drive home the connectivity is we test that connection every 2 minutes. So when your gateway box turns on, it goes and finds that signal. Not only do we find a reliable signal, but then we test that signal every 2 minutes. So we call that our heartbeat feature. Every 2 minutes, every single system across our customer base gets pinged to make sure it's online and working properly. If we cannot establish that that system is working properly, we'll trigger an alarm and let the customer know that their system is offline, meaning that it's not receiving signal. So that doesn't matter if it's if your system suffers some kind of I think one of the common questions we get is around lightning strikes. What happens if my facility gets hit by lightning? within 2 minutes, our box would pick that up and say, hey, look, we lost connection, whether the system got fried or something like that. So it's something where 720 times a day, that box is making sure that it is connected and has a reliable source of connectivity. So this gives you an idea, a little bit of what our main sensors are today that we provide. So like we talked about with the gateway initially, it monitors power where it's plugged in. We have wireless indoor temperature sensors, wireless outdoor temperature sensors, wireless humidity sensors. Our wireless dry contact sensor is kind of a utility sensor. There's a lot of different uses that we can put that to work with. And then our ultrasonic water meters, which are very popular as well. All of these are tube sensors, the humidity and temp sensors. Those have 3-year battery life rating on those. So you just hang those sensors out in the barn. There's replaceable batteries in there that will last about 3 years. And they'll talk back to that gateway box to be able to send you that information. With the wireless dry contact sensor, that can do a multitude of different things. One, it can monitor power where it's plugged in, but then it also has 2 dry contact inputs built into it. So that kind of gives you the ability to connect up to a controller, water meter, our water pressure sensor, or a lot of times what we see folks use this for is monitoring your generator. So on your transfer switch of the generator, you're able to connect the wireless dry contact up to that. When your generator fires up, whether that's on a weekly test cycle or in the event that it's supplying emergency backup power, you can get notified of when that's working. Our wireless water meters, and I'll show you some more information here of some of the kind of drilling into the information that provides. Those have been really popular, of being able to see the consumption of water that those animals are consuming on a daily basis. It's really powerful information that the BarnTalk system provides. So here's kind of what you would see in our mobile app, right? So you can see the barn has power supplied to it. If you've got water meters, you can see what the daily consumption is, temperature, humidity, those dry contact inputs that are built into the gateway box. You can see what those the status of those are, and then you also can drill into each one of those sensors individually and get a little bit more detailed information. So on the temperature sensors, for example, you can see what the average temp is over the last 24 hours and what your high lows are. You also have the ability in the mobile app to set your parameters for alarming purposes. So you can set the high temp threshold, low temp threshold, and then in the mobile app, you can kind of get an idea of what the status is. So in this case, the mobile app is saying that our temperature is getting a little high. It's in a warning state right now, so it's turning yellow. In the event that would be more of an emergency, is when that would turn red. And at that point, we would trigger alarm phone calls, text messages, things like that to let you know that's what's happening in your facilities. Our mobile app is also where you're going to program in your call tree. So when it comes to receiving alarms, if there's multiple people that you want to be alerted, you can program those numbers into the mobile app to be able to alert them. When you add people to your call tree, it gives them the ability to also have guest access to the mobile app. So you can have an unlimited number of people on that call tree, meaning you can have an unlimited number of people who also can see the conditions inside your barn. So that can be advantageous when you have several different people that are working on your farm. They can all have access to that information as well. One of the things that we see a lot of folks doing is pairing up our alarm system with smart controllers. So if there's several different types of smart controllers out there, in this case, we have a customer who's using this with their Maximus controllers. If you're in an area, you have smart controllers, those can do a lot of really cool things. But if you don't have reliable connection to be able to get remote access to those controllers, BarnTalk can be a really good backup alarm or dialer for that. So anytime your controller is going into an alarm mode, we can pick that up via the dry contact input on our BarnTalk gateway and let you know that there's an issue with that. So, those dry contacts, like we talked a little bit about, you can monitor more than just controllers with that. That can be feed motors, water pressure sensors, things like that. And with the wireless dry contact, you can really do a lot of that same stuff. So if you got, let's say, two barns that are sitting side by side, you put that gateway box in one of those barns, and it's going to monitor power there. You can hook up your controller into the dry contact. In years past, a lot of people would trench wire underground to be able to connect back to that communication box. With our wireless dry contact sensor, you can eliminate the need for trenching wires. You can essentially take this sensor, put that in your other barn. It will monitor power from where it's plugged in, and then it has dry contact inputs available for being able to connect that other thing. So, or, other things like controllers, water pressure sensors, things like that. So that makes it easy from the standpoint of maintaining the system. You're not having to worry about buried wires getting messed with or cut or anything like that. You can do that very easily with the wireless dry contact sensor. So with our wireless water meters, I kind of alluded to this a little bit early. You have the ability to go into the mobile app and look at historical information. So the mobile app will save about 4 weeks worth of water consumption information, which allows you to kind of see trend lines of how are the animals doing? Are they as they grow, is water consumption trending upwards? We show you what a 3-day rolling average of that is. It graphs that out for you so you can see day by day what water consumption is doing in those facilities. And this screenshot here is showing that on our web portal, you have the ability to drill in a little bit more, and you can see water consumption on an hour-by-hour basis. You can look at it on a day-by-day basis, things like that. So in our web portal would be where you could set up different alarm thresholds for maximum amount of water consumed or minimum amount of water consumed. You can set parameters based on that percentage change on that 3-day rolling average. So there's the ability to be alerted around that. We hear a lot of folks talk about how water can be such an early indicator of health issues with animals. And so being able to drill into that and take a look at that can provide a lot of value for producers. So just kind of, wrapping up kind of what the alarm system does with our reliable connectivity, that makes sure you have reliable alarms. With the mobile app, you have real-time monitoring. You can open up that mobile app anytime and see what conditions are inside your barn. And if you're looking to be able to collect data across an operation, it's a great way to integrate that into different software products that you're using on your facilities. So I guess that, Kelton, that's kind of the high-level overview of the BarnTalk system. I think a couple things that we talked about initially that maybe we want to touch on is the 3G sunset. So we've gotten a lot of calls from, and I'm just going to go back to this slide that shows about our cellular connectivity. Well, folks who have legacy alarm systems that are connected to cellular dialers that are 3G enabled. We've seen a lot of those cellular providers wind down that 3G connection. And so if your cellular dialer in your barn is still 3G enabled, then there's going to be some issues on being able to receive alarm systems. In some cases, we've seen where those dialers just won't work at all. In other cases, we've seen where the touch tone acknowledgement of alarms has gone away. So with the ability, when those legacy alarm systems use touch tone acknowledgement for being able to acknowledge an alarm, When that 3G network goes away and you lose that ability, then you're going to continue to receive more and more and more alarm calls and have to likely go physically to the facility to make that stop. So, one of the nice things with the BarnTalk mobile app, where you're setting up your parameters, let's say you empty your building, those animals are sent to market. You lower the temperature in there, but you forget to adjust your parameters. So in the middle of the night, your barn gets down there in temperature, and you start getting calls about that. If your legacy alarm system is still using touchtone acknowledgement on that, you might have to physically go to the barn to make that stop calling you. So with the BarnTalk system, we kind of take care of that issue. So you can change those parameters from your phone. You can acknowledge the alarm right in our app to make that make that issue resolved. So, did we have any questions come in while we were going through this, Kelton?
Awesome. No, actually, on our comments, we didn't see anything come through, but I did want to throw this up real quick. What's the best way to get in contact with you, Drew? We've had a little group with us that stayed with us the whole time, and if they're interested in getting quoted out for their own farm, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah. So you can see on there, there's my phone number or email address. Feel free to reach out. Be happy to chat with you. We're getting into trade show season here, specifically on the swine side of things. So, coming up here in the next month and a half or so, we'll be at a bunch of state swine shows. I know next week is also the big poultry show down in Atlanta at IPPE. So we'll have teams at both of those, or at that show as well. So please feel free to swing by, visit with us, reach out. We'd be happy to chat with you more about this.
Awesome. Yep. If you do have any questions, this is your last call. Go ahead and throw them in the chat. But other than that, I think that was good coverage. Again, as Drew said, if you currently don't follow us on Facebook or you aren't subscribed to us on YouTube, make sure that you just hit that subscribe button or that follow button. This will alert you of upcoming events that we will be doing, and we also have our trade show schedule on our Facebook page if you're interested in meeting with us in person. So
yeah,
go ahead.
Maybe one other thing I would add as well, Kelton, on our YouTube channel, there's a lot of different information about whether it's past webinars that we've done or just about the functionality of the BarnTalk mobile app. If you have questions on how specifically alarm thresholds are set up, or how to program the call tree, or how to set up those dry contact inputs. All of that information is available on just short, 1 minute, 2 minute YouTube videos on our channel. So, we want that information to be out there for people to see, so they can, learn more about it and really see how easy it is to set up and use BarnTalk on their farm.
Awesome. Mike said that he'll give you a call right after this, so we'll be looking for that call, Mike. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up here. I did see a couple people just jump on in the last couple minutes, so if you did miss the session and you'd like to go and watch the recording, we will be sending that out after. So thank you, everybody, and hope you have a great rest of your Friday.